Hi, my name is David Bunn and I am presenting today on the concept of the blended, or otherwise known as hybrid classroom. And what we're going to do is talk about not only what it means to have a blended or hybrid environment, but also some of the ways to implement it and what the pros are to using this type of setup in your educational system. The QR code here can be read if you have a QR reader on your phone, and it will send you to this presentation. And again, my name is David Bunn. So first of all, let's talk about what it means to have a blended environment. So what is hybrid learning or blended learning? The definition simply is it's not necessarily new, but it's a classroom experience in which you take the best of the old and you mix it in with the best of the new, and you put it together. So we have technology, we have teacher-driven lecture, we have all those components put together into one environment in which we try to take advantage of the best of both worlds for our students. Now, the big question is, why would we do this? What is the point? If some people may say, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But I think when we consider who we're dealing with, who we are trying to educate today, we're looking at a totally different individual. If we look at yesterday's learner, here we go. Everybody's in their nice, neat rows. We have the teacher. The teacher is the conveyor of all info. All right, the teacher is the person with the knowledge, and the children are expected to soak that knowledge up. However, with the advent of technology and the wealth of information that students have, and the stimulation that they receive daily from their phones, from their MP3 players, from the news, from TV, they are a different person. So we end up with a situation where today's learners are different, and we need to take a new strategy in order to reach them. And I think the hybrid learning environment is one of the best avenues to reach these students. So I think that video sums up a lot of what we're trying to accomplish here with the concept of hybrid learning. I think we need to try to incorporate the technology that the students already come to school with and use it to our advantage. So the big question is, how do we start this kind of process? Well, there are a couple basics that you need to have in order to essentially flip your classroom to this model. First of all, we need to use multimedia and internet resources, which I think, good teachers, successful teachers have been doing for a long time. So really anything new. Some of the best avenues that we can use, YouTube would be one. While there is information on there that you don't necessarily want, it's the job of the teacher to filter that, and YouTube is a great resource. There's almost unending amount of information. Another great resource is mini downloadable video clips, lesson plans, and one of the best features from the teacher's perspective is the education network, where you have other educators, not just in science, but other disciplines as well, getting together, sharing ideas, talking. Just a wonderful resource. Again, you could spend an unending amount of time trying to sort through what's there. It's another great resource available. So the other thing that really becomes necessary if you're going to try this with your classrooms is some sort of course management system and classroom websites, basically ways to communicate, convey information, store information. These are almost a requirement for the blended classroom. One of the ones, there's obviously Moodle is a great website. Blackboard is another one. Moodle is the one that I particularly use and am familiar with. This is my site, one of my classroom. This is my microbiology class. And as you can see, I have a different setup. I have a topic outline, so you can have discussion. You can have links to helpful websites. There's news, there's upcoming events, and it's a great way to organize a blended classroom environment. Another great available free resource is Weebly. You can make your own website. Students can make websites. It's a great assignment resource. Instead of turning in a lab report, students could use Weebly to create a web page report with links to sites and pictures. It's a nice resource that's out there, and again, it is free for the. This link here will take you to my own personal website, my school website. It's not as built up as it could. Most of my information that I use with my students is on our Moodle page. But again, Google. This is through Google. This is a Google site that you can create a web your Gmail account also. So I guess the next question, the next topic would be, what does this kind of class look like? What does a blended classroom look like?
I'm very excited about the start to this school year. Last year I was able to video record all of my lectures for Algebra 1 and Math 8. The students would watch those lectures for homework so that in class we could spend the majority of our time applying the information. This year we have access to laptops, so the students can watch these in a controlled and monitored environment where they can pause, rewind. Students could be working on different videos at their own pace. And more importantly, they could stop these videos and call me over to ask questions. We will spend a small amount of time preloading this information, and the maximum amount of our class time will be spent on applying the information, working on higher level thinking activities and group activities.
So this particular teacher has been doing this for several years, and she from around into a blended environment, and it really does seem to fit today's learner very well. Now this particular video is my own students at work. I had created a Moodle lesson with YouTube instructions, so the students simply had to come to the computer lab. They had to log into their account. The image of me described how to do the lab assignment, and then they went on and worked. So again, a great way to access the technology that we have available to us. So I guess the main idea here, the main thing we need to consider is what are the educational advantages of this setup of the blended classroom. And one of the biggest ones is the ability to differentiate your instruction. Students can submit assignments in multiple ways. You can assess them in multiple ways. They can work at their own pace. They can pause. They can rewind. They can work in multiple avenues to achieve the goal. Not only to convey information, not only to learn content, but also to get them to think and take ownership of their own learning. The advantage of the blended classroom is the flexible scheduling it allows. You can truly become a 24/7 educator. You can get information to students at any time, and it can fit their schedule. Some schools have even gone to a situation where the kids only come to class a week, and the other times they are spent working at their own pace at different hours, depending on work schedules, athletics. So it really does the time, and it may ultimately change how we design school years, how we design hours. It could even change how we design class rankings as far as freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. It would almost be more of similar to the way higher ed does it. Is logged in to Moodle. Obviously you are if you're listening to this. As the sub said, you are going to be completing a translation lab assignment, and the goal of this assignment is to understand mutations. So what you'll do once you're logged into Moodle, and that particular video, the one that we're watching right now, this was created on a day when I was going to be at a conference, and so I made this video prior to the actual day of class, and this is what the students had to do. So they came in, they listened to my lecture, my instructions, they completed the lab on their own. This was me giving them instructions how to do the lab. And it, often when you're not in class, the days aren't as good of quality. So this allows you to not miss time when you're not there. Again, it creates more of a 24/7 learning environment. I think one of the most important aspects of this idea is that it creates independent learning. Teachers can be truly more of a guide on the side, which for years we have known it's best practice, letting students explore, letting students learn, experiment. This just helps with that. It just helps make that process a little more fluent and gives teachers another avenue to accomplish this idea of being. This particular video is a lesson that I did. The students, I created a Google spreadsheet and had the students run some experiments with fruit flies, and they collected their own data. And then I had them go to the computer lab. Some of them were on laptops, some of them were on the school's computers, and they entered the data all at once, real time, as I was sitting in my room monitoring it. And it really it allows them to work, and it allows them to collaborate. I think that's the biggest thing is the idea of collaboration, which we obviously want our students to do. This is it. And even while they were working on it, I noticed that something wasn't right. The numbers weren't adding up. The fonts were incorrect, so I could change it. And so I changed it while they were working on it. Again, collaboration is a wonderful tool, and the blended classroom can help us accomplish that. One of the misconceptions, I guess, is that this is just an online course. So why don't we just go through some of our providers? And I think that the blended course, what we need to understand is that it's not an online course. It's a combination of brick and mortar school setup and online. So it's, again, taking the best of both worlds. Some of the key differences between blended and online totally is that in a blended course, students still report to class. Now, it may not be every day, but they still do have a brick and mortar component to their learning. Teachers utilize all the resources available. They don't shy away from the technology. They use it. They allow students to use their own technology, their phones, their iPads, their laptops, the internet, and you incorporate it into your lessons and your units. one of the biggest things that some people fear is that the teachers are being replaced by computers, and that is just absolutely not the case. There can be no substitute for, say, a living fruit fly lab. However, the computers become another aid, just like textbooks. They were the aid that teachers use and still use. The computers become a supplement, an add-on, an enhancement to your course. So to sum up, I think technology is being used to better instruct today's learners. And it's not going to change. I don't think anytime soon you're going to see less of this. I think if anything, you're going to see more of it. And this is what we're going to look at. We're going to see computers. We're going to see students in labs. We're going to see some collaboration. And technology is going to be used to teach today's learner. But I think even more importantly, technology is going to be used to teach tomorrow's learner. And there's one of tomorrow's learners right there. So I hope this information is beneficial, and if you have any questions, I have contact information available right here. And again, the sound quality may not be the best, so if you want to hear a better version with the YouTube clips that are embedded in here, at the beginning of the presentation you can scan that QR code and it will take you to this, and you'll be able to hear the YouTube videos a little bit better, and you won't have my narration. It'll just be the Prezi presentation. So again, I thank you for listening. I thank you for your time. My name's David Bunn.